Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Daily Leaf News. I am Cameron Andrews. Today, we are here with Republican Vice Presidential nominee Terrell McCann. It is the Daily News. Hello, Terrell. How are you doing? This is an interview. First,
Uh, Hello, Cameron. It's good to be here.
that's good to hear. Okay, how are you feeling going in? How are you feeling going today's revote?
We're feeling very confident and very optimistic, but very confident at the same time. I'm confident that the people of this country will make the right decision. Obviously, uh, last election when there was the election, it was very close. Obviously, two vote margin, two vote win, but it went to the House, ended up going to the House. But at the end of the results, um, Senator Service did end up with a two-vote lead over President Evans. So we're feeling very confident about this, and it's going to be a long night, we know, but we're still going to be very confident about this.
Okay, so how is Ryan? Have you talked to Ryan recently? And how is he feeling right now?
I have not talked to Ryan today. Uh, if I know him, though, I know Ryan very well. He's feeling very good about this night. Uh, we've discussed this a little bit uh, before today. We said that we're still feeling very good about this. We were feeling very good about that the last time that we had did this, and we're feeling very confident about this right now. The mood has not changed despite polls. Polls are polls. Uh, we're still very feeling very confident about this.
Sorry. Okay. So, how do you feel that Mech owner Ethan Kelly got involved and made this go to a revote instead of sending it to the House?
Well, Ethan's the owner of this community, and what I have to say is, we don't, as a people, uh, we don't always like the decisions that are made, but rather so, we have to respect the decisions that was made, and that's what we really have to do here. I know a lot of people are not feeling don't have it doesn't leave a good taste in their mouths that this had to come to this. But obviously, Ethan Kelly's the owner of this community, um, and he calls the shots, and he obviously decided that this was going to go to a revote. So, he can do that. It doesn't leave a good taste in people's mouths that this happened, but it is what it is, and we're here, and we're going to keep going to the very end.
Okay. I'd like to remind everybody if they have any questions for Terrell, please ask them in the YouTube comments. It'd be very much appreciated. So Terrell, how do you feel like Ryan would have won the House vote?
Oh yes, yes. Um, if it had went to a tie, which we were looking at how the House was going to vote, and looking at that, and not even the House, looking at the entire Congress, how the Congress had already voted. Because if you notice, uh, right after those results that came out, and right after everything that had happened, the Senate has immediately voted on who should be vice president, and I had won that vote. But when it comes to the House, we did feel that we had the votes. Not feel we felt and knew that we had the votes to win the House vote, so we were very confident about that. So when it comes to the House vote, we knew that we had a very good chance, excuse me, at winning that. In terms of overall Congress vote, we were very confident in that.
Okay, and how do you feel about President or is okay, but President Adam Evans dropping Ben Shear from his ticket?
Well, I'm not going. I don't think it's right to comment on that, but all I'm going to say is, it was very surprising to us that that happened, and obviously due to that, uh, Due to that, Ben Shear decided that he would support Ryan's service. So that obviously did not leave a good taste in his mouth that had happened to him. Uh, but yeah, I was actually, I couldn't say, I was actually surprised when that happened, because I thought that the ticket was still going to remain Evan's share. So yeah, I'm kind of, I was surprised by that move. I thought Evans was going to keep him, but obviously that was not so.
Okay, how do you feel about him putting Griffin Bates on his ticket?
Well, this is where I have to give credit where credit is due. Obviously, Griffin is has the experience. He's been a senator. He's been in both chambers of Congress. So obviously, and on both tickets, experience is not the question. Experience in a lot of these elections are not the question, because if we go into experience, we can go down the line of a lot of candidates who have served in a multitude of positions and have served, put in a good amount of time into this government. So experience has not really been a problem. More so, the problem is who can better lead this country. So picking Griffin again, I'll give credit to President Evans. Griffin is a experienced legislator, served in both chambers of Congress. But hey, experience on both sides. It's a lot of experience on both sides.
Okay, you cut off a bit. Can you just go back a bit to what you're saying?
Uh, there's a lot of experience on both sides, obviously. When it comes down to experience of candidates, specifically talking about Griffin, obviously he has the experience. Has been in both chambers of Congress, so yeah, he has experience. But question is he able to serve? And that's the real question we have to ask ourselves.
Okay, first off, I gotta say Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
Oh well, thank you,
How are
and
you
the same
feeling?
to you.
Okay, thanks. How are you feeling going into these holidays?
I when it comes down to the holidays, obviously, holidays is a time to spend time with your family and friends. And this is one thing. This would actually be my second Christmas here in Mech. Uh, and this is one thing I will encourage everyone to do. If you're a member of Mech, once it's Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, get off Mech, enjoy your family, because obviously family is more important than an online community, and I don't think there could be any argument against that. Family is the most important thing, and people should spend time with their families instead of being in an online community. So I know I'm going to be spending time with my family on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. Um, and go from there. But going into these holidays, I'm feeling very great, spending time with family, getting to see a lot of family that I had not been able to see. So I'm feeling very good going into these holidays. So like I said, if you're in Mech, just get off for the holidays. This community isn't going anywhere. It's gonna be there when you get back from the holidays. So uh, it won't hurt you to take a step away for 1 or 2 days to spend time with family. So I encourage each and every member of this community to do so, as it is very important to spend time with family. Because why? Family family is very important. Especially when you have your elders, spending more time with your elders around these holidays, because obviously uh, they're not going to be there forever, and we have to spend time with them as much as we can. So that's why I emphasize that family is the most important thing when it comes to these holidays. So everybody needs to spend time with them. And then once you come back, December 26th, 27th, you'll be, the community still be here.
Okay, so once again, happy Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Festivus, Happy whatever you
All of the
celebrate.
above. All of the above.
Yeah. So okay, let's go into some more mech things. Usually, when there's big holidays come around, usually there's some big scandals. What do you want to say to people of mech to not try to start a scandal on Christmas?
Look, um, and this is a thing when it comes to scandals. Honestly, everybody has. I mean, everybody will have something controversial happen. Uh, and that when it comes down to scandals, obviously scandals are something that divides us more than trying to unite us. Obviously, yes, we know that you're trying to uh, point out something. You're speaking your opinion, but at the same time, you have to think about it. Is it worth dividing the community more than what it already is? Because our community is very divided. Is it worth dividing the community much more? Because that's not uniting it, it's dividing it. So, to everyone, I mean, the scandal around Christmas, people want to have a good holiday. And they don't want to go onto Mac and look and see, oh, there's a scandal all about me, so this is going to ruin my Christmas. No. And not only around the holidays, Cameron, it's every day. Every day, it should not be a scandal because it divides us more than it unites us. And a lot of people in this community are all about unity, unite this community. I've heard a lot of people say that a lot. So when it comes down to a scandal, that's not the best way to unite us. That's more so dividing us, if anything. So around the holidays, around this time, I encourage everyone, and not just around the holidays, but any other time, don't. If you're speaking your opinion, okay, but if you're making a big scene out of it and just to get uh, cool points, it's not going to really help you. So I encourage all of you to really think about the decisions that you will make. And you know the saying, think before you act.
Okay, great words spoken there, Terrell. Next, I want to talk about Mike DeWine.
I swear to God, Cameron.
Just kidding. It's a joke. It's a joke. Okay.
Cameron, no, all right. We can talk about Mike DeWine very quickly. Mike DeWine will pass the Trump agenda in the state of Ohio. He'll build a wall along the Kentucky, Ohio, Indiana, Pennsylvania border. It's going to be a big wall around the border. It's going to be a big, big wall. DeWine's going to pass the Trump agenda. That's all he's going to do. Sad
So it's
DeWine, commit, resign DeWine.
is it gonna be on the border? Is it gonna be on the border of Lake Ontario with Canada?
Well, that's up to Governor DeWine.
Okay, yeah, but let's get back to this. So, of course, people in your campaign have gotten um, dirty against the Evans campaign. How have you and Ryan felt about this? Doing all these attack ads and
So
talk.
I've actually been ridiculed about this by one of the Evans supporters. Here's what I say, because one thing, first things first, I'm a person, I'm a human being. No one's perfect. Uh, a lot of the hatred that has been spreaded, um, me personally, I don't condone them. Uh, because one, I don't want anyone to feel that this is coming from the source, from us. Ryan and I are not about spreading hatred. I know Adam and Griffin are not either. That's something that both sides can agree on. We're not about spreading hatred. But what I will say, I don't really condone a lot of stuff that is said. And I acknowledge that it is really not right to say. And I will correct people when they're wrong. I'm not afraid to correct when they're wrong. And so I've said to a lot of stuff, uh, because somebody says something ridiculous, and I said, hey, that's going too far. So I will speak out about this. I won't speak out publicly, but I will speak to those people directly and say, hey, we're going a little bit too far. Dial it down a notch. That's really what, and that's probably the thing that I'm being ridiculed for is that it's not being done in public. Just because it's not being done in public does not mean nothing's been done about it. And that's what people have to realize. Just because something's not done in public does not mean it has not been handled. It could mean the exact opposite, that it's been handled and it just hasn't happened in public. So, honestly, to that question, yes, I don't condone a lot of stuff that's said. And I do try to do everything I can to say, hey, take it down a notch, if anything, because that's one of the most important things. So, To anyone and I will apologize on behalf of those individuals, as they are
Sorry,
people of our
can you say that
campus.
again? You can hear you.
Uh, yeah, I will indeed apologize to anybody on behalf of those individuals, for anybody that was offended, or to anybody that has been um, attacked or anything in a personal way. If it's policy based attacks, okay, we all can understand that. But when it comes to personal attacks, we can't stand for that. So, to anyone, if you've been personally attacked, I myself sincerely apologize on behalf of those individuals. And I want to assure you that we're going to do everything we can. We're gonna say what we can to make sure that it doesn't happen. Because at the end of the day, and I want all of you to understand this, at the end of the day, there's something called free speech. We have to respect that. It's the First Amendment right. People have the right to say what they want. Uh, and we don't really control what people say. That would be going against the First Amendment. People speaking out, speaking what they want to say. So obviously, we have to preserve our First Amendment right. We have to respect that and cherish it. Uh, but being vigilant of what is being said is the most important thing. So, to anyone who's been personally attacked, I will apologize on behalf of those individuals, and hope that we can move forward from that.
Okay, that was good. Now, let's stick on this topic. What is your opinion and basic approval of the current administration and Adam Evans?
Well, and here's the thing I will say: when it comes to a presidential administration, obviously we wouldn't be running if this country was not in disarray. Because obviously this country's in disarray, which is why we're running. We see the problems that this country faces, and that's the reason we're running. If we thought that this administration was a great administration, we wouldn't be running. So obviously, if we felt that it was a great administration, we wouldn't be running. But we see the problems that everyday Americans face. We see what has not been addressed, and we want to be able to come in and address them. And that's the reason that we're running. We're also running to bring new change. Ryan has the experience. He has the temperament. He has the judgment to be president. He even has great strength to do so. If you remember, Cameron, Ryan was president for 3 days uh, during a time when Tom had been impeached by Congress. And he showed great strength through those 3 days. He's signed a lot of bills that have been waiting to be signed for a little bit of time. And ultimately, he tried to make sure that he did everything he could in those 3 days. And may I mention, during those 3 days, being going through a transition of power from it being the Kirkman Service Administration to then being, I believe it was the Fitzgerald Uberfeld administration. So signing bills and doing things in the midst of having a transition of power, you have to have great strength to do so. And Ryan has shown that. And I feel that Ryan really, really knows how to handle the job. And that's what a lot of people can see, that he knows what he's talking about. He knows the job. He has what it takes to be president. And that's what we really want a lot of people to see.
Okay, so of course, your campaign has attacked the Evans campaign on education. What would your plan? What would a service McCann administration do to better education in the country?
Well, first, that question is very important on education. Because I will say, I don't now, the claim has been, I don't know if this claim is true or not, because, uh, I mean, I read something about the budget, but the claim was by certain individuals that uh, the Evans administration had cut the education budget by half of what it was. So first things first, when it comes to under a service McCann administration, essentially we want to make sure that we have a stable education budget, even increasing it, uh, because ultimately, and this is the thing, for too long, we have had cash flooding our schools. Cash, people thinking cash is the solution to the problems that schools face. No. Uh, so what we would do is essentially raise the education budget. We want to make sure that it is affordable for kids to get into a university. That's a very important thing there because, as you know, college tuition, university tuition for one of the some of these, colleges that they're little colleges, but they give great education. Many people cannot get into them because they can't pay for them. So we want to make sure that we're lowering the tuition rate for education, so it allows more children to get in to colleges that they want to get into, uh, and that they don't have to take out of student loans because student loans obviously come back and hunt you down, and then you're paying them off, and that's just a situation that you don't want to be in. So we want to ensure that we are raising the education budget and that we're giving our children the opportunity to get the education that they so rightfully deserve.
Okay, so kind of sticking to the topic of education, sort of not, but in an Evans, not Evans, sorry, but in a service McCann administration, well, what would be a higher priority, health and human services or education?
That's a good one. Uh, when you think about health and human services, you're thinking about healthcare. You're going into things of that sort. Now, I'm not going to say that one is a bigger priority than the other because education being playing a big significant role in administration, and so is health and human services. Uh, I'm not going to really say which one, or I'm not going to say one is better than the other, and one is a bigger priority than the other. Uh, we must make sure that we are treating them with the same level of importance, however, and that we are treating them with, say, let me rephrase that. We want to ensure that they are being treated with the same level of importance and that we have somebody, and that's the thing, we need to have an education secretary and a secretary of health and human services, honestly, so that we can work with those secretaries and that we can obviously sit down and talk about the issues that face education and health and human services.
Okay, I'd just like to remind everybody to, if you have any questions for Terrell, please leave them in the YouTube comments. It'd be very much appreciated. So, Terrell, would a service McCann administration rebuild a new not education, new healthcare system, like take away Ubi Care, or do you guys
No,
keep Ubi Care?
no. Obviously, we can all the time make. Uh, it's ultimately every administration's goal to make sure that healthcare um, is a tackle situation. No, we would not take away uh, the two-tier healthcare bill that has been passed, also known as UbiCare. No, because right now it gives too many middle-class people that have healthcare. If we were to take that away, they would obviously not have the healthcare that they have gotten. So no, we would not take away UbiCare. Uh, we would see what needs to be improved in it, and if there needs to be improvements to it, we make improvements to them. But overall, no, we would not take away Uber Care.
Okay, and with the music that's playing in the background, by the way, is beautiful.
It's yeah. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Yes. So, what would so in under this, if you were elected vice president and Ryan was elected president, what would the military budget look like? Would it be cut, or would you add more funding?
So now my you talk to Ryan about military on that. I'm going to give you my personal opinion on the military because I've been uh, a strong advocate for decreasing military spending a little bit or decreasing military funding. Putting because sometimes when it comes and that goes into the budget, when it comes down to our military and then we put education over that, we say, well, we're overfunding the military. So essentially, if certain individuals feel that we're over uh, that we're giving them too much money. The money that we would take from military, we put towards education. So, in my personal opinion, we've been able, I've been able to support cutting the military budget a little bit, not by half. It's by a small percentage. Uh, Cutting those and sending it more towards a a very another important thing like education. That would be something that I'm in favor of. I've been in favor of it before, and I still am. Uh, but also making sure, and that's another thing. If you cut the military budget, it's not going to really help us. Why? Because obviously our military is plays a very important, a very significant role in this country. They keep us safe, so they wouldn't be able to perform their jobs if we were to cut their budget. So I would not cut the military budget. We would not cut the military budget. Big league, as Donald Trump would say. More so, we would decrease it by a small amount and put it towards something like education.
Okay, speaking of Donald Trump, I just said, do you would your administration build a border wall?
No, no. When it comes to a border wall, and this is something you see in real life, that we're in the government shutdown in real life because of the fact that our the president Donald J. Trump wants a border wall and Congress won't fund it. First off, when it comes to a border wall, no, I'm not in support of a border wall. I I've said this before and I'll say it again. It's a waste of taxpayer money. We have better ways to secure our border. That goes to uh, updating what we already have on the border, or if it even comes down to having putting more troops on the border. You can have border security without having a wall. So obviously, a wall is a waste of taxpayer dollars. It serves, and obviously, a fence and a wall, they serve the same purpose. It's to keep illegal immigrants from coming over that wall or coming over that fence. So the wall and the fence play the same role. It's just that the wall is too many. I mean, it's too much taxpayer dollars. Uh, it's a waste of taxpayer money. The taxpayers don't want to pay for that, and so no, we would not want to build a border wall because there is better ways to go about border security and not having a wall.
Okay, let's talk about immigration. What is your opinion on the state of the southern border?
Well, obviously, the state of the southern border, we see that we have a lot of immigrants coming over illegally. We want to ensure that we have a pathway to citizenship. Uh, Updating our border security, though, and when it comes down to border security, and I'll say it again, we have a lot of troops on the borders. That's the job of Border Patrol to be there to stop people from coming over illegally and have them come through the legal way. So we can make improvements at our southern border, uh, and that comes with making sure that we're obviously taking the right steps in doing so. And you can do that without wasting taxpayer dollars.
Okay, since we talked about the southern border, what is your opinion on the northern border?
What about the northern border, Cameron?
Everything and anything.
Well, I mean, the big problem is at the southern border, not the northern border. Uh, want me to talk about the lake? Talk about the lakes? No, the biggest issue, being serious, the biggest issue is our southern border. No more than our northern border. Uh, Obviously, other countries they have. I don't know. Well, I don't really study up on other countries and their immigration system, but the biggest issue here at home is our southern border more so than our northern border.
Oh, because there's actually a huge influx of Americans illegally immigrating into Canada. That's why.
Oh, they're coming to Canada because they don't like Donald Trump.
Yeah, that's why. That's what's going to see if you knew that or not. Okay, never mind.
That's why. That's why they're coming to Canada is because they don't like the current president we have, Donald Trump.
Yeah, but they're seeking asylum, and the Canadian government's trying to fix that so they don't because the Canadian government's that's a whole different story. Never mind. I can talk to you about it afterwards. But
Oh yeah.
What? How? Let's talk about something more light. What about? Would you support making Puerto Rico the 51st state?
Okay. Um, I have had mixed feelings on Puerto Rico. Obviously, it's part of the United States. Um, Essentially, people want to make Puerto Rico state, so that they can have a bit more representation. Uh, Here's the thing, and this can go into. There's a couple things with it. Um, One, when it comes to our electoral system, we would have to change up the amount of senators, the amount of representatives that we would have. That would be the first thing, and that comes with any of our territories. So essentially, when it comes down to that, you ultimately also have to think about uh, how Puerto Rico would contribute to the economy. If they would contribute in a good way, and they would bring, uh, if they would benefit us in a good way, there could be, you could see me supporting having Puerto Rico as the 51st state of the United States. Um, but obviously, we haven't seen that yet, and you have to do a little bit more study on it to see how that would ultimately benefit us, or how it would hurt us in the long run. So right now, I'm very mixed on making Puerto Rico a 51st state, the 51st state of the United States.
Okay, let's talk about somewhere else I want statehood. The District of Columbia. Do you think they should become a state or just get two senators and representative, or none at all,
So
or no representation at all?
that's what DC. So with DC, honestly, DC does have three electoral votes. They don't have voting representatives. Um, they could now. You could do that. That could be that you could do that, because DC already has electoral votes. Um, you could give them representation. Um, so that could be a more um, reasonable thing than Puerto Rico, because DC already has electoral votes. Uh, no, everybody deserves to have some type of representation, and that's the ultimate thing. Everybody deserves to have some type of representation, but you have to have a certain way to go about it. So making DC a state could be something that we could see, um, and it could be something we could see very soon. I've heard something 2016 about something about DC becoming a state, so that could be something that we could be looking to also, and it could be a more reasonable thing.
But would you be for making DC, like not making DC a state, but just giving them two senators and a representative?
I could be in favor in support of that.
Okay, let's talk about taxes. Everyone's favorite topic: taxes.
Oh Christ.
Would you reinstate the income tax?
Okay. Um, Here we go with income tax. It was abolished once. Um, you have to look at this. You have to go about this a certain way also. Um, Now, the income tax is not a very popular idea in MEC. It's been abolished. Um, and obviously, it was abolished because people saw issues with it. So, I'm not now, and it also comes down to how it would impact us. Um, One, with the current tax we have, you would have to see um, if we're getting a good amount of revenue from that. And with the current system we have, obviously we have the land value tax, um, which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, has been increased. Um, Now, you look at other taxes, and people have said that they don't want to impose more taxes. Um, That's why you have to go about this a certain way. You have to sit down and actually go through this and see how it benefit us in the long run. So I'm not saying that we need to reinstate the income tax. That's not what I'm saying at all. But there's a certain approach you have to have with that. You'd have to look and see how that would benefit us and hurt us in the long run. Because obviously, like I said, it was abolished once. And so it was obviously um, not a popular idea, which is why it was abolished.
Okay, I'm just going to ask one more question about
But
that.
yeah, by the
Oh,
way, check your PMs.
okay. Yeah, I see. So two more questions, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay. I wanted to ask a question about. Do you want another question on taxes or something else?
I can go on something else.
Okay. Let's go to the energy industry now.
Mm.
Do you support transferring all coal and nuclear plants into renewable resources?
So it comes down to renewable resources. Um, First off, forms of energy. Now, this is something we you work on in middle school and go up to high school. Is talking about renewable and non-renewable resources. Honestly, when it comes to our energy policy, um, we must have a strong energy policy that comes with not with renewable resources. Uh, and essentially, we have to look at this in a way and say, okay, well, what would better help us? Obviously, one thing that we would factor in when it comes to our energy policy is how it would affect our agricultural industry. As you know, whatever decision we make when it comes to our energy resources, agriculture can and will be affected. And that's one of the big things we have to worry about when it comes to our energy policy is that how will it affect our agriculture? So making a decision in terms of that, or we would look at um, how it would benefit or hurt our agricultural industry, and essentially going into new forms of energy that could help us in the long run.
Okay, final question. Who do you think is America's most important trade partner?
All right, so we can
You you
go.
know you know you know who to say, Terrell. You know who to say.
Yeah, yeah. You want me to say it, don't you?
Yeah,
It makes you feel good, don't it?
yeah.
It makes you feel good saying Canada. Okay. There's a we.
It makes me feel tingly inside, man. Oh, that
It
feels good.
makes you feel tingly, Cameron. I know that's why you wanted me to say it. Um, Canada is one of our big trade partners. There's a couple other. One of the main ones being China. Um, China, we've
Say like
obviously.
Trump, China.
Oh, China. Trump says China. We have to do things with China. Okay, China, they're a big part. China, they can, you know, China's they're cheating us out of our own game. Okay, honestly, it's China. No, China being one of them, Canada being one of them, Mexico. You have really big. United States has big trading partners with a lot of people. Um, but some main ones being China, Canada. I'm not going to say one's bigger than the other. Uh, they all contribute about the same, just different things. So obviously, Canada is one of them, China's one of them, Mexico's one of them, and there's a few more.
Okay, Terrell, stay after. We're gonna wrap this up now, but stay in the call because I have to ask you something after.
Okay.
Um, but thank you everybody for coming to the Daily Leaf News. I'm Cameron Andrews.
Ooh, I got one last thing to say.
What?
All right, listen up here, folks. If you have not voted yet, make sure you're voting. Um,
Oh yeah, vote. Go
yeah,
vote.
no matter who you are voting for, just make sure that you are exercising your right to vote. Because I said this yesterday, if you watched the District 3 debate, uh, people have fought for us to have the right to vote. Um, and we should really take advantage of that now because if you see what happened in real life, honestly, a lot of people regret not voting in 2016. and that's how we ended up with Donald Trump. So honestly, take advantage of your right. No matter who you're voting for, make sure that you are getting out to vote. And that's the most important thing. And make sure, as Ivor would always say, quoting Abraham Lincoln, the ballot is stronger than the bullet.
Okay, that is it, folks. Bye, and we gotta go. See you. Bye.